after having those 4 defeats to get back on the winning track at home there against Lafayette?
Yeah, anytime you win, it always feels good to a certain level. Especially after you've had 4 defeats, you need a victory to feel better about yourself, to gain that confidence back. I'm not going to be the bearer of bad news. We certainly didn't play great. We had some individual performances, though, that were very good. I'm happy that we won, and you have to celebrate every win. And I think that with the amount of success that we have had for so long, sometimes we don't appreciate wins as much as we should. And, we're going to celebrate this one till midnight. And we haven't had the opportunity to do that quite as much this year. And I think that we've grown from this. I thought that some of our individuals grew today, and I'm hoping that growth will continue.
Coach, what is adding, I know you've been tinkering with the starting lineup, what is putting Breonna Thomas in the starting lineup? How's that maybe settled down this team a little bit with her being an upperclassman, her leadership?
Well, I think you said it best. It settles the team down. Bree is a kid that makes open threes. She knows how to run the offense from every position on the floor. It's one of those situations with Bree. She's a 3-minute a segment type player, though. She can really go hard for 3 minutes, and then after that, we've got to sub her out. And it's not a lack of conditioning. It's just what she does well in 2 to 3 minutes, and then we've got to look towards someone else. Her numbers don't show up on the stat sheet today. No rebounds, no points, a turnover, and 2 steals. But she runs offense. And when you have such a young team and you have a kid that understands every position on the floor, she provides value in that regard. And so, we're happy with what she does, but by no means is it a set starting lineup.
Conversely, who she took the spot of, Nina Aho, where would you rate her performance so far this year being a freshman? I know there was a lot of...
Disappointing. But we're also talking about a kid that moved 6,000 miles away and had very high expectations placed upon her by me and others. And she's been a little bit disappointing. But you can see it, and you can see it every day. And I thought we saw it today. I mean, she was much, much more aggressive, and that was the big knock on her when she came to America is that she was a little bit too passive. She deferred and didn't look for her shot as much. And today I didn't love all of her shots, but she took shots. She shot the ball with confidence, and 4 offensive rebounds, 7 rebounds overall, 6 points, 4 assists. I was really happy with what Nina gave us today. The way that she played with energy and not deferring every time was very different than the last month. And so hopefully that's another building block for us to grow on today.
What a difference, now you see it every day, but what a difference a year makes for Giuliana, at least on the peripheral. It seems like that she's made quite the jump from her freshman to her sophomore year.
Giuliana is, we'll just call her Yutza. Yutza, really, today, she played 2-3 minutes in the first half, and then the second half she was really almost, you could say, dominant. She was all over the place. She flew around on defense and did some good things there, and then 4 rebounds and 10 points and shooting the ball well, taking good shots. And let's not forget, she hit another 3 that was wiped off because of the illegal screen that was called. So really, in a sense, the kid was close to having 13 in a very short amount of time. And she's had her moments. Today, Ohio State, there was another game or 2. Now for Yutza, it's all about developing consistency. Yutza is a talented player. She needs confidence, and we have given her that confidence, and we've given her minutes, and she now has to use this as a building block to gain consistency. And you're going to find that in the course of this press conference, we just keep talking about building blocks, because that's what this win is.
What would you say the identity of this team is right now?
We don't have an identity, and that's part of the problem. Our identity is being forged as we speak. We're not going to use the excuse of our youth. We're not going to use the excuse of me making the mistake of putting us on the road 17 of the first 21 days. We're trying to figure out what our identity is. We have a couple outstanding post players that go beyond Kadri and Amadea, but we've got to find them. We've got to find them in the post. We did that today. What our identity will be really forged and cemented for the most part, over the course of the next 10 games. But, I say that and then I take it back in a sense because we have such a young group of kids that anything can happen and the season is so long. We have kids that believe in one another and they have a pretty good belief in themselves and they have very high expectations for themselves. So I think it's going to be a whole season of self-discovery and team discovery. And I'm not sure if we'll have a full identity until towards the end of the year. It may not happen in the next 10 games. And we can only do so much as coaches in trying to create what that identity we want it to be. We can always talk about greatest effort every day and every slogan that coaches talk about, but at the end of the day, the players create their identity somewhat. And it'll be interesting to see where this trip takes us.
Obviously, in the last few years with April and Devin, you've had tremendous leadership. Are you satisfied with the leadership you've seen from this group or members of this group?
You can't compare the two in any sort of way. We have two seniors, three seniors. Erin Wiscoviak has played in maybe 5 games in her career. Bree Thomas before this year played very limited minutes. And Amadea is not a kid who has those kind of qualities to be an outward leader. Her responsibility as a leader is more so look at what I do in the weight room and how I train. To compare April Robinson, who started every game in her career, versus a sophomore, and we only have one sophomore that played in Chastity Amagroso. It's such an unfair comparison, and we're not going to have that right away. That's an organic type of experience that has to happen over time. If you would have had April Robinson here when she was a sophomore, April Robinson wasn't a leader either. She wasn't the player that she was as a senior. So, let's check back in 2 years and see where they're at and see the growth that they have. But the unfortunate part about that is we don't have 2 years because we have tomorrow and the next day, and we have Akron next Saturday. So how do we develop the leaders? We've got to continue to give them the responsibilities that we've given them, everything from meals to curfews to on the floor holding each other accountable. I thought that Chastity did a much better job of that today. I thought the post players did a much better job of holding Chastity accountable with pitching the ball ahead and passing it into the post today. It's really holding each other accountable and not taking offense to when someone has criticism of one another. And our kids, for such young kids, really do a good job. I'm really happy with them, but it's going to take a while.
Collectively as a group, through 11 games of the season, what are you happiest about from the development of your team, and what are you most disappointed about that you thought would be a little further along by now? Collectively, not individually.
From a collective, we have a group of kids that have never wavered in their commitment to the program and to one another and to being coached. They want to be coached. They want to be in this program and have success with this program and continue the success of this program. What would I be most disappointed in? Our record. But I put more of that on me. I did not put us in a situation where we were going to be successful. I thought that we were going to be further along from an experience standpoint, and from a talent perspective, I thought maybe we could overcome some of our lack of experience. But I put us on the road for 17 of our first 21 days against just not Cal Berkeley and Ohio State, but an Ohio University team that was picked to win their league, who's senior-laden team. An Iona team, a Lehigh team, a Buffalo team that are pretty much, well, other than Lehigh, I take that back. Buffalo and Iona, both senior-laden teams that Iona was in the NCAA tournament last year. Buffalo was in the NCAA tournament. Even the teams that are a lesser name, so to say, are still very good teams. And so we're just trying to find ourselves against teams that are very experienced and have had successful experience. That's on me. We needed to play a couple games within there at home, first of all, and not be on the road so much. And then to find an opponent that was maybe a little bit of an easier opponent to give us some confidence in that really, really tough stretch of the first 8 or 9 games. And that's on me. I didn't do that. And I've learned from that. And hopefully we won't have a schedule like that again. Not with this kind of an experience.
Is this week off? I know it's finals week here at Duquesne. I don't know how many days off. Is it coming at a good time? I mean, you're going to give the kids
We're
some time
exhausted.
off, or?
Yeah, the kids, everyone's exhausted. We all, the coaching staff, the players, everyone is very, very tired because we have been on the road so much and all the things I've mentioned about the quality of our opponents. And then we have kids that really, really care about their academics. And so, they've missed a lot of class time in the fall, more than we ever have had to miss. And then you compound kids who really care about their academics and who are in majors like environmental science and accounting and business. It's been very stressful for them, and they've handled it like champs, but it has been very, very tough. They need this week. They need this week for final exams. They need this week to be kids, to be young women. And so, I'm sure some of them will have a final tomorrow, some of them may not, but I hope they go Christmas shopping and eat cookies and be young women and relax a little bit for a day or so. I gave them the option of actually having Tuesday off, and they said, no, Coach, we want to lift and we want to have a shooting practice. And so that'll tell you a little bit about what their commitment is to the program.
I know you've lost 4 in a row coming into today, and I know you didn't play well, you weren't satisfied with your level of play today, but you got the win. How close are you to where you need to be to compete at a high level in the Atlantic 10 play?
We're not even close. We've got to get a rotation down. We've got to find some people that are going to be consistent. We've talked about being consistently inconsistent, and so we've got to have consistency. That's why I use the word building block. Yutza has to be consistent. If she can provide the day that she did today on a consistent basis, that's really going to benefit us. If Chastity can pass to the post and pitch the ball ahead like she did today, that's consistent success for us. On the other side of it, Kadri, 10 rebounds, that's great, but you can't be 2 for 12, Kadri. I mean, we can't have that. Connor can't be 1 for 7, and that's where the consistency part comes in offensively. We've got to have them shoot 30%, 35% from the field, and I think then we can talk about being a much better team. We can't shoot 10%. You look at us as a team in the second quarter, we shot 12%. There's going to be very few teams that are successful that can withstand a quarter where they shoot 12% against another quality opponent. We play a St. Louis, a Dayton, a GW. That's not going to cut it. That's not going to cut it, and we're going to dig ourselves a deep hole if we have quarters like that. So that's why consistency is the biggest thing that we have to find, and with me changing the starting lineups on a fairly regular basis, that's new for us also. We haven't done that in the past. I'm trying to find consistency through inconsistency of changing the lineup. So we're a work in progress.